I'm Frank Garza, and welcome to Here and Abroad, a podcast that follows the U.S. men's national team and their player pool across Europe, MLS, or wherever else they play their club football. On today's show, we're digging into the American contingent at PSV. We'll look at how their seasons are going so far and what their futures may hold. We'll spend most of our time talking about Ricardo Pepi and Sergiño Dest, but there are a few other Americans at the club we'll touch on as well. To help me do all of that, Rick Elfrink is joining the show again. Rick is a journalist who covers PSV for Eindhoven's Dagblad and 80 Sport World. Rick, the last time you came on the show, it ended up being the most listened to episode ever of Here and Abroad, so I'm thrilled to welcome you back today.
Well, that's good to hear. Well, that promises a lot for today.
Yeah, no pressure, no pressure. I think it's just that us U.S. men's national team fans, we love Sergiño Dest, Ricardo Pepi, and of course Malik Tillman. Last year, there's always seems to be a lot of high-profile Americans playing at PSV, so I think folks are just always really interested in what you have to say. I like to start with Ricardo Pepi. He's coming off the big injury, from last season. What have you seen so far from him this season regarding his performance, and how I guess where is he in the injury recovery process? In your mind.
Well, Ricardo had a big problem, of course, in January. Then, he got a knee injury, which was really heavy because it costed him, I think, 6 months to become a football player again. So that's long. It was not the worst knee injury. It was not a cruciate ligament, but it was a big knee injury. So he needed some time. We all thought maybe in July, August he would be on his top level again, because when the medical staff, when they talk about 6-7 months, then he needed some time to recover, of course, and to get back in training. But we saw him a little bit struggling in July still, and in August also still. He was not able to play like 90 minutes. It ended up in a situation that he had to take some rest again. And that was difficult for PSV because they had no other striker. The former striker was Luc de Jong. He was the first striker of PSV during the last years. And then all the pressure was on Ricardo, of course, because he had to be the first striker this season. And he did not manage to get fit again fully in July, August. So the club, they got a new player, Alassane Plea. So he's another striker. He came from Borussia Mönchengladbach. Good player, very exciting player, different player also than Ricardo. But unfortunately, he was injured very soon in August 17. There was a match against FC Twente, PSV Eindhoven. And there was a tackle from a player from FC Twente, and it ended up in some really sad news for Plea. He's now, I think, he's now 1 month injured, but it will last until far in 2026 when he returns. So it's really, really heavy. So then again, all the pressure was on Ricardo to come back very soon, and he was still not able to play 90 minutes. So PSV decided to get another player in, Myron Boadu. He came in from Bochum, a German club. So he's now the second striker, and Ricardo is the first striker. So unfortunately, Boadu is also injured again. So he has a muscle injury. So he's also out for 6 weeks or so, 4, 5, 6 weeks. So he will return in the end of October. At the end of October, I think. Well, where Ricardo is standing now, he played 2 matches, more than an hour. And I think now he's ready for his first 90 minutes. What you see is that the team is looking to to find the best way to serve him, to get him in a position that he can use his qualities, that he can show his qualities, I must say, that he can shoot. Because I think Ricardo is on his best when he can shoot in the box or around the box. Then he's really a killer when you can you can find him in some space around the 16, and then he can shoot on goal, and then it's almost always it's a goal, because his shot conversion, it's really incredible good. So they are finding a way, because the former striker, he was very strong with his head. He was one of the best headers, I think, in whole Europe, Luc de Jong. And that is not directly the quality of Ricardo. He can score with his head. He also did it once this season against NEC. But I think the last 2 games of Ricardo before we record this podcast, they were really poor. And that's not, of course, not his. You cannot blame him. You can also blame the team, who was not able to find Ricardo in his best way. And when you want to play with Ricardo, you have to find a way, what I said, to get him on the ball around the 16, and that he can get some space, to hit the ball his shot. What I said, his shot is incredible good. So, you should find a way to serve him in that way.
Yeah. So do you think, I mean, is it safe to say he's not all the way back to his 100% form from the injury? He's still kind of working towards there?
I think the good news is that his knee is getting back to 100%. So that is really good news, because Ricardo Pepi is a top player who did not lose his qualities. I cannot believe that, because he showed a lot of qualities in the 2 years that he was here in Eindhoven. Of course, he was mostly a substitute, and that is a different pressure than you are when you are a starter. It's also mostly a different part of the game, of course, because there are more spaces in the last part of the game normally, because the opponent is getting tired. But what you see now is that Ricardo is the logical starter at PSV. So it's just, I think, finding a way to integrate him in the team, and to find the best way to get him in his most dangerous position around the 16 or in the 16. So that is, I think it is just a temporary problem. It's not something, it's very, that it's not a situation that is worrying PSV a lot, I think, because what I said, Ricardo did not lose his qualities. But of course, it's finding the best way to get him in the dangerous positions. That's it.
Yeah. You know, when I watch the matches, one thing I always kind of makes me, like, I don't know, smile a little bit or laugh, is when you watch Ricardo's body language. You know, he so clearly wants the ball. He's always doing the motion with the 2 hands to the players to, like, put the ball right here. You know, anytime he's near the box, kind of motioning them to, like, get me the ball, right here. Do you know what I mean? And he seems frustrated at times. When he doesn't get the ball, I'll kind of see him put his hands up and turn to a teammate. I mean, have you noticed that? And do you think that's a sign of frustration on his part at all?
When he has to be in the final end of the pitch, of course it is difficult, because he has always 2 men around him. That's a fact. He has to live with that, and that will continue. But in the game against Ajax, which was the last game before we record this podcast, he only had 9 ball contacts in the first half. I think 10 in the second half. So that's not enough. He should be more integrated in the playing style of PSV. Of course, it's his problem, of course, but it's also the problem of the team. So. PSV made a big transition this summer, which we are going to talk about later this show. Earnie Stewart bought 11 new players, 1 for young PSV and 10 for PSV 1. So it is also it's a puzzle that has to yeah, it's a new puzzle for the coach. That is what I wanted to say, and he has to find the solutions. And I think the same thing. Ricardo did not lose his qualities. It's just finding the way to get the best. Get the best solution to get him in the dangerous parts of the pitch, to get him on the ball. And that is not easy, of course, because the opponent also knows it. But what you are saying is, of course, he wants the ball. So what I saw in the game against Ajax is that he came back from the front. He was more. In one time he was in the defense of PSV to get the ball, which is of course frustrating for him when he doesn't get the ball. But I think normally he has to stay in the final part of the pitch, and what I said, they have to find a way to find him.
Yeah. Well, despite his injury, coming back from the injury and kind of the not being fully fit this summer, there still seemed to be interest from other clubs for him in the summer transfer window. From your reporting, it seemed like PSV was only going to consider like a really super high number to let him go. I mean, do you have any idea what kind of number they would have been looking for to entertain any offers?
Of course, everything is for sale when the right price is coming. But I think the promise that Ricardo made the last 2 years here, he's here since 2023. He came in July. He's a big promising player. And I think the things that he showed during his minutes, he had an incredible average. When you look at the minutes that he needs for scoring a goal, the average that is really that's fantastic. So I don't think they even considered to sell him to anyone. There were some offers, of course. I think clubs made offers around 30 million euros, but for PSV that was not enough. When they would have got 50, 60 million, maybe they would have sold him. But that is not a price which was realistic now, because he came back from an injury. He struggled a while to get fit again, which was not because he didn't want that or he didn't work, but it was just bad luck after the injury. It's something you cannot always predict. After his training sessions, there was still his knee was still hurting a little bit. So and now the good news is that now this part is closed, this part is finished, and he can now look forward to get back in shape again, and to find his form, to find the best Ricardo since he was here. And I think he showed a lot in those 2 years. He made a lot of goals. I think now already he made 21 goals or so in maybe 13 or 1400 minutes in Eredivisie, the Dutch league. So that's an incredible average. And now PSV is not considering to sell him. Maybe next year when he plays a great
World Cup
in America. But I cannot find a reason why they would have done it this summer or this winter. No, they are now. He's the number one for the 9 position. He got the number 9. So and the coming weeks. He has to find his best shape.
Yeah. I was curious what PSV's biggest outgoing transfer was ever. And I saw Chucky Lozano for 50 million euros to Napoli. Does that seem right to you? Is that the biggest outgoing transfer?
I think Chucky Lozano was around 38 or 40 million euros, 40 million euros, but it was a big one. It's now Cody Gakpo, who went from PSV in 2022 to Liverpool. They sold him then for 42 million euros and 8 million in bonuses. So that was around 50 million euros. What you see, these transfer amounts, they are increasing every year. So maybe you wanted to ask if Malik Tillman was the record transfer for PSV. No, he was not. Although
I was actually curious about Ricardo. I'm thinking ahead. You mentioned, like PSV's number maybe was 50, 60 million.
Okay.
Is it possible Ricardo Pepi, if he has a good season, could possibly set a record for PSV?
Yeah, well, last summer when a buyer wanted to have him, indeed, they should have broken a record. I think that when you want to buy him next season, it depends, of course, on his level this season. When you want to buy him next summer, maybe 50 or 60 million is a reasonable price. But then of course he has to score like 25 goals in the league. Then it's realistic. But we have to see. There's a lot oncoming. We have still 28 games in the Eredivisie to come. So Pepi made 2 goals in his first games this season. So of course that's not 25 already. But I think he showed very promising figures the last year. And why would 25 not be a realistic figure now? So it can still be. A lot of people predicted him to be predicted that he would be the top scorer of the league. I'm very curious if he can manage to make this true.
Yeah. Obviously, a lot. There's a lot unknown, right? We all do think, he can score 20, 25 goals, and hopefully he has a good World Cup, and then maybe he can get, transfer offers like that. But we have a lot of the season still to go. But hopefully he will kind of put up those numbers.
Yeah, well, Frank, every game is crucial. Ricardo is now in a stage of his career where he has to come back. It was a really, really serious injury. And of course, now the coming weeks are really crucial for him to get this average back, this incredible average that he had, to get his position in the American team back. I don't know if he will be there in October, but he played a lot now. And what we discussed, there are still some problems. It's not that he is integrated in the team already well, but what is good news is that he seems now physical, totally okay. So we have to see the coming weeks. I still have trust in him, and what I began with is that he cannot have lost his qualities. That's impossible.
Yeah, I believe I've seen a few tweets from you. They get auto-translated to English, so I don't know how accurate they are, but something like, in case you were wondering, Ricardo Pepi hasn't forgotten how to score goals. I think you tweeted something like that out after he had scored a couple of weeks ago.
So, 2 weeks ago, he made two goals, and everyone was happy. And in the 2 games after, against Union, the whole team, I think, was a little disaster. I think that PSV, that they expected a lot more of this Champions League game, which they lost 3-1 in their own home. So that is a big disappointment. And against Ajax, I think they played a little bit better, but still the result 2-2 was a disappointment, because they were 2-1 in front, short before the last whistle, and when you get the 2-2, then that's always that's always a disappointment. So mixed feelings, of course.
Well, I'll keep watching. I have high confidence in Ricardo as well, that he's going to get going. Yeah, and I can tell you do too. It will be interesting to see if he gets called into the U.S. men's national team for the October camp. Sounds like there's some doubts on that, but we should know the answer to that sometime next week. Is what I'm hearing. The roster will be released.
Yeah, for a
the
striker,
US.
of course, when he is physically, when everything is totally okay, he can go over there. Why not? Because a striker, yeah, every goal can change his life. You say,
Yeah.
you
Oh
know
yeah.
how it works. It's something, yeah, in the head. It has to do with trust. So yeah, why not? When it's possible to go there and not, yeah, when he doesn't damage his physical condition, yeah, then it's I think then it's a great opportunity for him.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about somebody who did make it back to the U.S. men's national team the previous window, and that's Sergiño Dest.
Yeah,
He played for the first time in I think a year and a half for the U.S. men's national team. What are you seeing from Sergiño Dest so far this season, and do you think he's all the way back from his injury?
yeah, he's all the way back. So there are no physical problems anymore. Yeah, we all know the story of Serginho in April 20. It was, yeah, 2024. I already thought it was 2.5 years ago, but it's only 1.5 years ago. So April 2024 in the training session, yeah, he got injured. Yeah, one wrong step, and yeah, everything went wrong. Then he was a year out. He also struggled a little bit after his comeback. So I think it lasted more than a year. When he was really back in his, yeah, for him it lasted really more than a year when he was back in his top condition. This year in May, it was very important for the championship of PSV. Then he played a great game against Feyenoord. So that is 4 months ago now. After that, still he had to take some rest sometimes. He did not go to the Gold Cup. You all saw that. And indeed, in the last national team period, he was back in the United States team. Yeah, with different different results. Yeah, I think Serginho is back on his level, although he can also still improve. But it also has to do with the new PSV and yeah, the new team. He also has to find his way in this team. Sometimes now he plays on the right side, sometimes he plays on the left side. What I hear from him always is that he has not, yeah, it doesn't mind. He doesn't mind where to play. So left is good for him, right is good for him. He has not a really favorite position, he says, but yeah, I cannot imagine that you. Yeah, that I imagine that it's better for him to get a position on the left or on the right, yeah, for several games. So that's better for him. So he played now in the beginning of the season. He played on the left side, I think, and now in the last game against Ajax, he was on the right side because they bought a new player, PSV, and as Salah Eddin. So he plays now on the left because Mauro Junior was injured, and yeah, now Mauro Junior is again back, the Brazilian player from PSV. So we have to see where Serginho will continue his journey at PSV, because sometimes, what I said, he's on the left and sometimes he's on the right. We have to see, but
Yeah.
that he is physically back on his yeah, on his normal form, then yeah, I think, yeah, you could say that. I think normally also he will go to the United States national team in October. Normally, yes.
Yeah. 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 He had in the Ajax game, their most recent game for PSV, he had that penalty called against him,
Yeah,
which led to Ajax's first goal. And so I wanted to ask you about his kind of defensive capabilities, because a lot of the talk here in the U.S. is that, he's great going forward. He's unbelievable in the attack. But against some of the top players, some of the top teams, he can be considered a defensive liability at times. I mean, how do y'all see it at PSV with his defensive capabilities?
Well, I think his defensive skills are really okay for Holland, for the Eredivisie. They are okay. Maybe not on top international games. That is something different, of course. Maybe that's a different story. I think in every game he can be a real game changer when it comes to playing forward. Indeed, what I told you, I said the game in May against Feyenoord. Yeah, Richard Ledesma played then as a right fullback because Sergiño was not fully capable to play 90 minutes. He only could play 30 or 45 was the idea. Well, Richie Ledesma had really big problems in that game, so Peter Bos, the coach, decided to make a substitute in the first half. And after 30 minutes, Sergiño came on the pitch, and everything changed. So it was a big game for PSV. They won the game against Feyenoord 3-2. And after all, they won the championship because Ajax failed to win their games. I think Sergiño was a real game changer because he was able to get forward in that game. And it's always good when the opponent runs after you instead of that you have to run after your opponent. So that is what he was capable of in that game. And of course, when the team is performing well, when everything in ball possession is okay, when the ball rotates the way the trainer wants, the defensive skills are not that important because then everything is going the way the coach wants. And also at PSV, something different is that defending begins with the number 9 or on the right side on front or on the left side on front. So the attackers have to put pressure, of course. So defending starts at the front of the team and in the whole team. Also the midfielders have to defend. Sometimes they have to make a fall or it's defending is something that you have to do with your whole team. So it's not only the right fullback or the left fullback who defends. Although I can imagine that in some situations, of course, Sergiño can do better. That was also the case, I think, against Ajax. The moment that he had to, he touched his opponent. I think the penalty was, it was maybe a little bit heavy decision because the video assistant referee took the decision, and I think the video assistant referee is made for clearly wrong decisions. I think it was more a 50-50 moment than it was a clearly wrong decision from the referee. But okay, this penalty was he could have given it, although he didn't do it when he saw that moment the first time. But it was not really smart action of Sergiño, of course. I think he should have defended better that situation, and it was just his position, I think, that was a problem. So he was too much forward at that moment, I think.
Yeah. What do you think about his future with the club? Because it's hard to believe for me, but he's still only 24 years old. I mean, he's a guy that's played at Barcelona already, AC Milan, now he's at PSV. I mean, do you see him staying with the club?
Yeah, for this year, of course. So he's already, his experience is indeed what you say. He played for Barcelona, he played for Ajax, for AC Milan. So it's incredible when you're 24 that you have played for so many clubs, and now PSV already a long time with this really heavy injury that he had. His contract expires in 2028. So normally the club, I would say normally it's. When you look at the economic situation, normally it's logical that he will be sold next year. But maybe they will find a way to extend this contract for another year. I don't know. Also next year, PSV always wants to realize 2 or 3 big transfers. Yeah, 1 or 2 also sometimes in the summer, but mostly it's 2 or 3 transfers in the summer that they want to realize. Maybe Sergiño is one of them next year. That is possible, but what you also see here is that they don't want to sell their whole team, of course, in 1 year. So this summer also they sold some crucial players. Malik Tillman was one of them. But you also saw at the end of the transfer market that one of the players on the midfield, Joey Veerman, he could have made a transfer to Brighton and Hove Albion for 30 million euros. And yeah, PSV said no against that offer because they said, yeah, it's for us, it's impossible to find a player who can replace him in such a short time. So they decided not to do it and to say no to Brighton. It depends next summer if they are able to sell more players, if Sergiño is one of them.
All right. Well, it's been great to see him playing again. I mean, he's
yeah, sure.
Dest has always been one of my favorite players to watch on the U.S. team. He's got flair. He's exciting. He's kind of fearless, and so it's just great to see him.
Yeah, he's a player that makes a lot of football fans happy, of course, because because he plays forward and he's such an amazing player. When you also look at his his running is also something special. I think he's in such a great condition when he's on top level. He's able to make so many sprints during a game. So and he makes a lot of high intensity runs during a game. As they say now, high intensity runs. That's something from the last 10 years, I think.
Yeah.
And he's able to recover very soon during a game. And make a lot of those sprints. Yeah, he's a very exciting player.
We'll talk about another exciting player for PSV, and that's Esmir Bajraktarević. A lot of U.S. fans will be familiar with him from his time playing in MLS. He represented the United States for some of the youth national teams, ultimately decided to represent Bosnia and Herzegovina. Yeah. But people are still a big fan of him. I mean, what have you thought about his performance since arriving at PSV?
Well, he came in January, the beginning of January, so he was, So the thought was that he could adapt half a year and then slightly become a player who comes in the team when there are some possibilities, when like Ivan Perisic or Ruben van Bommel, who's now injured for the rest of the season also. So you hear I'm talking a lot about injuries. I must say PSV has a lot of bad luck this season with the injuries. But that it gives also chances to other players. I think Esmir Bajraktarević has a big opportunity now at PSV. The last game against Ajax he came in. Because Van Bommel was injured, and Van Bommel is out now for 9 months. So the rest of the season we don't see him back on the pitch. So there will come some chances for Esmir. Who was the second man on the right wing after Ivan Perisic, the big Ivan Perisic, who is of course the first man on that position. But now it's also possible that Ivan Perisic will go to the left side and that Esmir Bajraktarević will come in the team on the right side. PSV still has 2 men for the wings, so also Dennis Mann, an international from Romania, and they have Suhaib Drieweg. That's a player they bought from Excelsior, a smaller team in the league. And of course also he has to prove a lot. So Drieweg can play on the left side and Dennis Mann, he can play on the right side. Yeah, and Bajraktarević has to compete with them and to show his qualities. I think he already showed promising things. What you see is that he also sometimes is busy with like with some tricks. And the coach here doesn't really seem to like that. So he always wants things to be functional, to be reasonable. Everything has to contribute to the team. So what you see is, I think that Bajraktarević, that the crowd is loving these kind of things, his tricks. But the coach is always warning him that it has to be reasonable, that it has to contribute to the team thought. So it's always difficult maybe for him. So we will see what happens, and we will see how it influences him. But you see a player who can, when he comes in a few minutes, he can bring a lot of danger on the pitch. So he's a little bit unpredictable what he's going to do. But also did not play so many games. So it's difficult to judge already now if he will be in the coming weeks. If he will be a starter for months, I don't know that, to be honest. I think there are a lot of players at PSV which he can compete with. And then he has to score a lot of goals and to contribute to goals. When he will do that, he will play. And if it's not enough, then the coach will choose for someone else.
Yeah. It's funny you say that about the tricks, because, I mean, I think the fans like that. The U.S. fans like that with him as well.
Sure,
He'll do like
we all like
a
to see
nutmeg.
That, but I can also imagine the coach that it's always difficult when an opponent maybe thinks he is humiliated or whatever. So you may not make the opponent angry, or it could also, that can influence the game maybe. So that is something. It's just a thought. Something that he can just think about. I think players, you should never. I think you should never ruin their attitude or their character. You cannot do that as a coach, but you can let them think about what they do, of course. And of course, it's important that he knows that everything that he does has to contribute to the team thought.
Yeah. Okay, last guy I want to ask you about, because I know we only have a few minutes here left, but Earnie Stewart, former sporting director for U.S. Soccer Federation. Now, I believe his title is sporting director for PSV.
Yes.
But he came in the winter of 2023. He's had 2 full seasons. PSV has won the title both seasons. I mean, so what is he's had so much success right away. What do you think Earnie Stewart is doing a good job of?
Yeah, I think when you look at his performance since he came in, I think PSV did a really great job indeed. They came out of a difficult situation. They had to sell 2 players, Noni Madueke then to Chelsea, who went now already to Arsenal, and Cody Gakpo to Liverpool. So they sold these players for like 80 million euros. I think his first summer was really strong from Earnie Stewart. He bought a lot of players that contributed to the team. I think his second summer was not as good as the first summer, because there came in some players who did not play a lot, like Ricardo Pepi, the right back. And some decisions he made really late, I think. And during this year, I think Stewart recovered his performance again. He extended a lot of contracts. So, PSV has now, I think, when you look at the PSV group now, all players have a long contract. Which is very important for the club for the future, because they always want to sell 2 or 3 players normally during a year, and then it's of course important that they still have a contract that lasts like 2 or 3 years, so that clubs have to pay a big transfer amount. So I think that Stewart recovered a lot this year. When you look at this summer, There was a lot of bad luck, I think. I told you about the story of Alassane Plea, who came from Borussia Mönchengladbach, the striker, who was injured very soon after his first games, and who will come back maybe next year during. We still don't know. Maybe it's March, maybe it's April, maybe it's May. So that's really bad luck. It was just a tackle from an opponent. So that is something. The technical director has no influence, of course, on that. And he was also not a player with a big injury list in the past. I think also the injury of Ruben van Bommel last week. Ruben van Bommel is was the left striker of PSV during the first matches of the season. Also a terrible injury. He's 9 months out. These are things. He bought Ruben van Bommel for 15 million euros. He bought Plea for 3 million euros. So that is bad luck. And also 2 other players that he bought this summer. Kylian Sildilia from Freiburg and Myron Boadu, which we also talked about. They are also out now for like 4, 6 weeks because they have some muscle injuries. So 4 of the 10 players are out now because of injuries. Then you can say you have really bad luck. Not every player that he bought is now contributing to the team. So Dennis Mann, which we talked about already, he had some weak games in the first part of the season, so he was now on the bench. I don't know. Maybe he has to adapt in Eindhoven. You never know why a player doesn't fit directly well in the team. Bajraktarević is also not a player that is now a starter every game. But he was bought in January, of course. In the summer, PSV bought 5 other players. I think 2 are now really starters. That is Gaziorowski, the player which came from Valencia. He's a central defender. I think he had some good performances already. And the goalkeeper also is a new man, Matej Kovar. He came from Leverkusen. So he replaced Walter Benitez, who went to Crystal Palace in England. I think these 2 players are doing very well at the moment. And a lot of other players are still looking to integrate in the team. And that's not easy, of course, because PSV, the level is very high. They were champion 2 times in a row, and everyone expects them to be champion again. So for the coaches also, it's also difficult now because there are some injuries, and the start was not as good as the first 2 seasons of in his PSV period. So we will see. But what I would say about the last transfer period of PSV, that I think Earnie Stewart had really bad luck. And when you look at sports, you can never talk about luck or bad luck. But this is something that you cannot foresee, of course, that the 2 players are out this long time. That's a disaster for PSV, of course.
Well, all right, Rick. Well, I will make sure and put links in the show notes to your X account, which is at Rick Elfrink, and also to your work online. I really appreciate you coming back on the show today.
We'll see each other before the World Championships, I think. Then we can talk again, of course.
Yeah, would love to. And I'll be watching PSV closely this season and hoping they get another title, and that Pepi can make a run for the Golden Boot. That's what I'm cheering for.
I hope it doesn't ruin your sleep too much, because it's sometimes difficult, I think, to watch PSV.
It's not too bad. When they played Ajax, it started at 7:30 in the morning, my time. So that's about as early as a match I have to watch. But a lot of them are around noon. 11 a.m., noon on a Saturday or Sunday, which is just about perfect.
Okay, that's okay. When they have really early games, then it's difficult, of course.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks to everyone for listening to Here and Abroad. If you enjoyed the episode, please do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube, or that follow button if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or somewhere else. Thank you so much. I'm Frank Garza. You can follow me on X at FrankGarza007, and I'll be back next week with a new episode.